Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with a very special Friday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Not only am I joined by my regular partner in crime, Mr. Scott Reichel, I am joined by my lifetime partner in crime. I've known him his whole life. It's actually my son Truman. He's going to be here and help us with these Friday college games. So, Scott, you excited?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to have to get used to working with Truman now because you might be getting downsized. I'm not sure that's going to work out, but we'll see what happens.
I would take downsizing, my friend. We're going to, as we always do, we're going to take a look at the Friday games, and then Scott and I will do our separate show where we bitch about the terrible picks that we made last week. So moving on. I know that we're probably going to get this up pretty late, but Truman, you got a pick from the Iowa State-Texas game. You want to start with that one?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you the Iowa State-Texas game.
Thanks.
Iowa State is actually favored by 2.5 in this game. They've been 4-2 against the spread all year. They've covered in 2 of their last 3 and 4 of their last 6. They won straight up in 6 of their last 7. Odds would tell you this game isn't going to be decided by more than it won't be decided by less than 2 or 1. So I like it. And the Texas has been the underdog twice this year. They've only gone 1-1. And at the end of the day, I don't like to play narratives too much, but as compared to Texas, this is probably Iowa State's biggest game they've ever had in their football program ever, which is a little bit of a dog being from Kansas State on Iowa State. But the odds are that the fact of the matter is that they've only been 7-5, and that's about the best that their college football program has done in a long time. Right now, they're sitting at 5-2, and sitting atop the Big 12, or 6-2, sitting atop the Big 12, and this is a big game for the program. I like Iowa State to win here against the spread, cover the 2.5, and to continue their run at the Big 12 here.
There you go. Texas a little bit down year this season. Scott, let me ask you: you think Tom Herman's days are numbered there in Austin?
It depends how badly they want to, or how quickly they can fly planes of money over to his bank account. Because that bailout is not exactly a fun part of the contracts that it seems like a lot of these head coaches have to deal with. It's like, why has Auburn kept the same coach for this long? Why is this one? Oh, it's because if we avoid the contract, we have to pay him $30 million. So
yeah.
That's usually why, there's a clause in there. Truth is, I don't really know what to think of Texas because they kind of fall into the same boat as Michigan. Usually Notre Dame, but this year, of course, that's not the case. But they're one of those teams where the fan base has unrealistic expectations. USC, another example. Since
right.
Pete Carroll left, everything like that. They're still stuck in the glory days when they haven't been anywhere near there in about, 10 to 20 years.
Right.
So it's a matter of Texas saying, yeah, we're going to find somebody else and we're going to do something. Like who? Who do you have? I mean, because you already tried Charlie Strong and a bunch of other guys and none of those worked. So I don't know where we're going to go from there. I don't know. I don't think Herman's the answer.
Right.
But until you find an alternative option that you feel confident in, I don't know where you go. Kind of like what Michigan has, where Harbaugh this season's been a disaster. But at the same point, he's an alum who is the head coach, and who are you going to find to replace him?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Good point. And that's a beautiful segue, Scott, just like we rehearsed it. Talking about a team that's stuck in the past with an alum that's underachieving. It's the Nebraska Cornhuskers, everybody. The Iowa Hawkeyes, this must hurt Big Red Nation, Scott. Iowa Hawkeyes, 12.5-point favorites over that Nebraska team. Now, it has come down a little bit, but that is a monster number there for this Iowa team. Hey, before we get started, real quick, Scott, you going to lay the 35 with Liberty against UMass today?
I'm more shocked the line has dropped from 40 to 35 than anything else on the board today because I don't understand that at all. UMass covers one spread in the span of about a year and a half, and now everyone's on board.
By 3 points. They beat it by 3 points.
Yeah, I know. I'm proud of them. They scored 2 points on a safety. I'm really proud of them. They had 150 total yards of offense, but yet, they love them against Liberty. Liberty off their first loss of the season. Yeah, I'm sure they're not going to be pissed off trying to win this game by 60. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work out really well.
Liberty.
No, I am not taking UMass. I would lean Liberty if I had to choose.
All right, very good. All right, what about this Iowa-Nebraska game? What do you got?
I'm winning Iowa. I don't want to sound extremely chalky, but how am I supposed to back Nebraska after what happened last week? I understand that people can argue, well, Iowa's offense isn't that great, and it's a conference game, and it's going to be close, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Nebraska was a 17-point favorite against Illinois at home. They lost by 18 points.
That is hard to get. That's
They were
hard to get
35
past.
points off from covering. That is awful. Now, I know that Illinois got their quarterback back in Peters, who's not bad. Lovie Smith's an okay coach, whatever you want to call him.
Is he? Is he now?
He's okay. I didn't say he was good. I said he was okay. And I think I'm being generous when I say that. But they did make a bowl game last year, so I'll give him a pass.
Okay.
But as a whole, Scott Frost, he ain't it.
No.
That's all I'm saying. It's kind of weird how quickly things can go badly when you're in a non-Power 5 and you suddenly switch gears and now you're awful. Kind of like what Mike Norvell's experiencing right now at Florida State. But looking through this matchup here, Iowa, they're more physical on both the offensive and defensive lines. Nebraska's offense, whether it's McCaffrey, whether it's Martinez, their quarterbacks aren't very good, and their lines aren't very good either. This team just is also poorly coached. I'm going with Iowa because when in doubt, you know that they're going to stick to the identity. They're going to force turnovers, they're going to pound the rock, and they're going to dominate on both ends of the line of scrimmage. And I think Nebraska is probably going to get blown out. So I'll go with Iowa in this one.
Yeah, I've got a premium play on this, but for the sake of our show, there's another bet I really like, and I do like the under here, Scott, because I think there's I think it's going to be a long slog for Nebraska here. The thing about Nebraska is they've got a little bit of a running game, but their running game comes down to their quarterbacks, and that's pretty much it. Their running backs as a group average less than 3 yards per carry. This is a very stout Iowa defense. It's hard to see where the offense is going to come from Big Red here today.
I expect them to force at least 2-3 turnovers.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised whether they play McCaffrey or whether they play Martinez. It doesn't really matter. Truman, what do you got here?
I also was leaning Iowa. I was on a 3-game winning streak where they covered the spread in every game. Nebraska has been bad this year, and they're even worse on the road, having lost both their games on the road by a combined total of 43 points. And Iowa's offense is averaging 33 points this year compared to Nebraska's 21, and their defense is giving up half the amount of points.
Yeah.
It's hard not to love Iowa here.
Yeah, that's. I think Iowa is a solid play, and like I said, I also like the under here because I think you're just going to have one team doing the heavy lifting. So, Scott, what else we got?
Well, I feel like we're going to be talking about the main event.
Oh, that's right, the main event: the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the North Carolina Tar Heels, and I do have a premium play on the total there, so I will be more than happy to talk about the side here. But I'm gonna let you go first, Scotty. What do you got?
Over. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I like the over in this matchup. North Carolina is. I can't even describe what they're even playing like. They're playing like, I don't know, UCF like 4 years ago. Like with Mackenzie Milton, they're just scoring 60 points a game, giving up 40.
Hey, do you know Mackenzie Milton may be back today?
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Okay, there you go.
That's kind of a flashback as he was phenomenal before he had this serious leg injury. But North Carolina, let's look at their last couple of games. They've gone over in each of their last four. 48-21, 41-44, 56-24, 59-53. Meanwhile, Notre Dame, their last two games, 47-40, 45-31. Total in this game has gone way up as it originally opened up, or roughly 65.5 up to about 70, give or take. I don't see many stops. Ian Book, I remember when he used to be terrible. That was fun times. Now he's actually decent. And Sam Howell, I think he might have a pro future because I think he's actually a very good quarterback. Both teams, Notre Dame has a pretty good defense, but it's streaky. North Carolina has no defense whatsoever. And I think that Mac Brown's team, which just throws the ball constantly, they also have two really good running backs as a dual threat type of thing going on to set up some balance. I think both teams should easily get into, I'd say, the high 30s, low 40s. I see a track meet. It wouldn't surprise me if North Carolina wins the game, to be honest. I think that this is a decent trap spot here. This is definitely going to be one of those games where Notre Dame's already gotten over the hump. They beat Clemson, et cetera, stuff like that. North Carolina, they probably know they're not going to end up making it to the conference title game or anything like that after losing to Florida State. This is going to be the biggest game they have all year because they have a chance to defeat the number 2 team in the country at home. I think North Carolina treats it like the Super Bowl. I think Notre Dame might be a little bit sluggish to start. So I'm going to lean to North Carolina plus the points, but for the total, I love the over because I just think that this is just going to be touchdown after touchdown. That's how I see this game.
All right. Yeah, very good. And I've got, it's interesting to take a look at this Notre Dame defense because, you hear all the stuff about how this defense is so great. And
did you notice that they're good defensively against bad teams? But
that's exactly the point I was going to bring up, Scott. 13 against Duke, shut out South Florida. They did give up 26 to Florida State, 7 to Louisville, 3 to Pittsburgh, and 13 to Georgia Tech. Not exactly murderer's row of offense. So when they finally played teams with offense, they gave up 40 to Clemson with a backup quarterback, and they gave up 31 to Boston College, who I would call an average to slightly above average offense. They're actually starting to click a little bit, but it's certainly no great shakes. I don't see how North Carolina with this defense. I don't see how they slow down Ian Book much, but I think North Carolina's going to be able to go blow for blow with them. I'm with you. I don't. And actually, this has come down to 5.5 since we've been actually on the air. I like North Carolina plus the points. I don't hate it on the money line, although at plus 180, I wish there was a little more value there. But I think this is going to be a hell of a game, and I think you're right. This is probably the biggest game, maybe in North Carolina's football history. It certainly is.
That's going a way back. I'd say it's up there, assuming that. Well, then again, with COVID, you don't really know how many bowl games are even going to happen. So I can't even say that they'll get a better bowl game because maybe they might not even be a bowl game for them. But we'll see what happens. All I know is you have a chance to pull off a huge upset at home, and you have a great spot with an offense that is clicking right now. I think Howell's the better quarterback. I know Book's been good lately.
Yeah.
Sam Howell is something else. And I know that a lot of people have realized that after his freshman year and how he was the surprise starter, and he ended up rolling through his freshman year. He got even better. Do you think he's a pro future? Because I see it.
The only question about him is his height. He's only 6'1".
Yeah.
But I do think he
Mobile,
does.
though. He's mobile.
He's mobile. He can throw on the run, and that's a big thing these days in the NFL. It's not just are you mobile, but do you have to get those feet set? Do you have to get your body pointed down? Do you have to step into your throws, or can you make those throws off the back foot as you're rolling out? And Sam Howell can make all the throws.
He reminds me a lot of Zach Wilson from BYU.
Yeah,
I think they're very similar prospects, and Wilson's supposed to be a first-round pick, so that's how I view the two.
I think Sam Howell will absolutely be drafted. It's just a question.
First round, early second.
Yeah, if he keeps this up. Truman, what do you got on this game?
No, I also have the over for a lot of the reasons that you guys already hit. UNC's offense and defense are both offense is really good. Defense is absolutely terrible. Notre Dame's offense has been good, and their defense has been better on paper, but just like you guys are saying, they've gone over in their last 2 games. Well, the defense has allowed over 30 points in their last 2 games. They've gone over in 3 of their last 4 games. And the Notre Dame defense is just like you guys are saying. They do well against bad teams. They do well against good teams. Yeah.
They do poorly against good teams. Yes.
Yeah, very good. And I agree with that. I think we're all on the same page here. Yeah, I think this is going to be a huge game. It's a day off for everybody. And all the national attention is going to be on this game, and I think they've got North Carolina ready to go. I like to see Sam Howell and what he brings to the table. In this game.
I might be doing something a little bit differently, something I'm not used to doing. I might actually be abandoning college basketball for 3 hours to watch this football game.
Now, see, and for me, I like college basketball, and it's
we disagree on this. I'm so into college basketball, it's not even.
I just can't get ramped up until college football's over. I'll make the plays. There's some value at the beginning of the season, so you always have to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, it's hard for me to. It's like getting ramped up for Christmas after Halloween. It's just.
I personally love it. College basketball is my favorite sport of the year, so I go all in on that stuff. But for North Carolina and Notre Dame, I'm a huge fan of points. I think the Big 12 is the most entertaining conference just by pure comedy because the lack of defense involved. And this game, I think, is going to fit that billing where both teams, if they both get to 40, you are not going to be surprised. So that's how I'm going to view this game.
I think North Carolina is the Seattle Seahawks of college football.
Okay. Well, that means that's not an insult, so that works out.
You go with that comp, all offense, no defense?
I guess. I mean, you could say that about a lot of teams in college.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's finish it up here, Scott. Take a look at the little battle from the Pac-12 as the Ducks and Beavs get together in Oregon State. Oregon 13-point favorite, 65 is the number. Scott, are you all in on this quack attack yet?
Actually, no. I'm siding with the Beavers on this one. Simply put, I watched Oregon play against UCLA. Was not impressed. Offensively, they're good. And they have a good quarterback. I know Verdell was pretty non-existent against UCLA, but Bethel Thompson didn't even play. He ended up getting COVID. He didn't play. They had a backup quarterback, and the backup quarterback torched him. So
Right.
UCLA was able to move the ball on the ground through the air, do whatever they wanted. Oregon's defense also didn't play well against Washington State in the opener, which is concerning because they were against a true freshman quarterback who moved the ball really well, and Oregon had to go on a pretty solid run in the second half just to even win the game. They were trailing early. Oregon State, though, I know that they haven't exactly played the toughest opponents. They lost to Washington State. They lost to Washington. They beat California last week. But once again, we're talking about big games. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we all know that in a shortened 6-game season for the Pac-12, Oregon State's biggest game is the in-state rival game against Oregon. And Oregon, on the other hand, has to face off against California, Washington up next. They're still trying to go for a playoff, so there's still a lot of potential pressure on them to run the table. Oregon State's focused solely on this game, in my opinion, and Oregon State is really good on the ground, as Jefferson is a very good running back who people don't really know who he is. But Oregon couldn't stop the run last week against UCLA. I think this game will be close. I think Oregon will win, but I think it'll be within single digits.
Well, it really is, to me, it's going to come down to the Oregon State rush defense because this is an Oregon team that likes to run the football. Ran for 270 yards in their first 2 games against Stanford and Washington State before running into who knows what kind of problems there at UCLA, a little better rush defense than they're used to. They're still able to throw the ball for 330. It's a lot of points, though, Scott, for a rivalry game. They're in conference, in-state rivalry, 13. To me, I'm got to lean with you here. I'm not real strong on this game.
I just don't like this Oregon team. I think the Oregon team is good. They would have been a lot better if some of their players didn't opt out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, without COVID and having a regular preseason, I think you've probably got a top 5, maybe a top 10, maybe top 5 team in the Oregon Ducks. I'm not sure after it all shakes out that they're anywhere near that.
They seem like they're a good team for about, I'd say, 40 minutes. Then you have 20 minutes in the game where you just wonder what exactly are they doing. And that's part of the reason why I'm not a big Cristobal fan as a head coach.
Yeah.
I think he's an abysmal clock manager. I think he's one of the worst clock management coaches in the entire country, and nobody talks about it. But he's good at recruiting. He's good at bringing a physical nature to Oregon, which is kind of ironic because they've been, a finesse team ever since Chip Kelly and everybody got there. They've been successful. But if you look at how they handle situations, third and short, etc., the play calling is questionable. And I think Cristobal as a head coach, X's and O's, not very good. So for me, I'll lean to Oregon State.
Okay, very good. Truman, what do you got here?
Cristobal, by the way?
Yeah, I think he's a little overmatched being at a
I think he's a good locker room coach. I don't think he's a good actual clipboard coach.
He's a good living room coach. He can get the guys there, but I'm with you. As far as his in-game coaching, I don't think it matches up with where this Oregon team wants to be. They want to be a perennial top 5 team to be mentioned in the national conversation. And I'm with you. I don't think Cristobal's really the guy to get him there. Truman, what do you got? Any thoughts on this one?
Actually, I think a lot of things that you guys have mentioned already here lean into more of the over. Oregon's defense has given up over 20 or 29 or over in their last 2 games. They haven't had a game go under yet. They did push in their first matchup against Stanford when they only allowed 14, but Oregon State defense hasn't given up less than 27. So I like them to kind of and playing into kind of the shootout that we had talked about. Neither of these teams are low scoring teams. They only between these 2 teams, even though they've only played 3 games each, there's only been 1 game that they've scored under 30 points. So I love the over here.
Yeah, that's solid. Scott, 60-65 is the total here. You got any thoughts on that?
I'd lean to the over as well. I know that Truman just mentioned the fact that the first game that they had for Oregon pushed against Stanford. It's worth mentioning Stanford's kicker went 0 for 4. So they also left 12 points on the board there. Jet Toner, one of the greatest names in college football history, but not a great kicker. But looking at Oregon State, yeah, they are really balanced offensively. Their quarterback is a little bit streaky, which is concerning because he's going to have to face off against a team that has very solid athletes. But I don't know what it is. Oregon has the athletes. They just haven't pieced it together defensively. I think there should be a lot of points. Plus, worst case scenario, even if Oregon State hypothetically gets blown out, which is a distinct possibility, then Oregon's offense is still capable of putting up 40, and you just need Oregon State to show up and score 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of leans towards overs in these shortened college football seasons because style points matter, especially when you're Oregon. You're playing out west. You got a late start. You got to do everything you can to impress the judges and the voters. So yeah, I'm always going to when in doubt go over in these games because I think they're much less likely to take their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter than they would be in a normal season.
Mm.
All right, there we go, man. That's our little breakdown for the night games tonight. Scott, you got anything else on this card that you love? A little Simu Emu there in the MAC or
Truth is, I was all in on college basketball last night, so I was kind of doing research on that. If I really had to look anywhere else, looking potentially at the UCF and South Florida. I'm looking for UCF potentially. I know they lost to Cincinnati in a pretty tough game there, but I thought they actually played pretty well. Cincinnati, I think, is really good. So the fact that they were able to hang tough there, they were winning earlier in the game before Cincinnati kind of figured them out. South Florida, they've had some moments where they can score points. This defense is so bad. Like, there's really no way to describe how bad they are. Gabriel should go for 400+ and probably 5 touchdowns. And UCF's defense, they have made strides. Are they good? No. But they're better than the defense that gave up 50-something points to Memphis earlier this year. So they have made some improvements. I know win this game by 4 touchdowns, but in total, overall in this card, not really interested in anything.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Just throwing it out there. You put me on the spot for one, so I'll look at UCF there.
Okay.
And that's kind of it.
Okay. Very good. That's solid. Truman, you got any final thoughts? You got any other games that you're taking a look at that you like here today?
Very kind of the same. Honestly, we already touched on it earlier, but it was surprising to see the Liberty line come down from 40 to 35. But even in that South Florida UCF game, I don't know what it is today. I'm seeing overs all over the place. I don't hate the over in that Central Florida.
Well, I'm looking at UCF spread because I think they could score 50. So it's kind of the same idea there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They may have to do it all by themselves. I don't like that Bulls offense. They don't bring much to the table, but
I feel like they switch quarterbacks every week, and no matter who they bring in, he's terrible.
I think if they can get to 20,
Mhm.
I think there's a good chance of this game going over because I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like you guys, Central Florida hanging up a 49 or 50 on them.
They're going to score at least 2 touchdowns of at least 70 yards. They'll have like 2 scoring drives in 30 seconds. It's going to be one of those.
Very good. All right, man. That's phase 1 of Today in Sports Betting for our Friday show. I want to thank our special guest, Truman Steen. Truman, I'll give you a plug. Where can we see you?
It was a STM Network on YouTube or Twitter and Twitch for Steen Machine, spelled like your last name and then machine.
There you
So
go.
my question for you, have you ever considered changing the name of your show to The Truman Show?
I would. I was looking at a lot of things. There's actually.
I'm sure you've gotten that at least 30 times by now, but I had to ask.
Right. No, I looked, and a lot of people actually have the Truman Show moniker. So I was like, I can't. I can't do that one. It was too much. It was too on the tee. It was too teed up. Sometimes you just don't hit it out of the park.
Happens. You can always add the apostrophe S and try to find a loophole.
Sure, that's true.
Just for the record, I do want everybody to know that Truman was born in February, the few months before the Truman Show actually came out. So he was not named after the Truman Show. So
Would have been kind of weird if he was. So.
And you haven't been filmed your whole life.
So no coincidence there.
Just-
as far as I know. Well, I guess. Well,
just
But
like
he was obviously named after Harry Truman.
yes, correct. Or
The
as,
Mizzou
as,
mascot.
as my wife says, he was named after the Mizzou mascot, who also happens to be Truman the Tiger.
Okay, that works too.
So,
Better
all right,
than-
Truman, thanks for stopping by. Scott, as always, thanks for tearing yourself away from college basketball for well over 7 minutes.
I'm missing the Gonzaga game for this. No, I'm joking. I'm happy to be here.
Boy, did they take apart KU yesterday or what?
That team is something else. And I'm actually looking at the score right now. They have 37 points with 7 minutes to go in the first half.
And who are they playing today?
They play Auburn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They are just – we talked about Notre Dame and North Carolina's defenses. Gonzaga for college basketball. Wow. I mean, that's an offense right there.
Yeah, it really is. They just keep running. It's weird to think this may be their best team ever.
They were my pick to win the whole thing. So.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. All right. Well, there you go. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Wonders, for my son, for Truman, we appreciate him stopping by. And, man, this is a great time of year. Make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwiners.com for deep dives into all these games, not just college football, but college basketball as well. Some of the teams that are kind of under the radar, you want to learn a little bit about them. That's the place to be, winnersandwiners.com. Appreciate everybody watching today on Black Friday. If it wasn't for – we'd be playing some Steely Dan. We'd be playing when Black Friday comes. But, no, the YouTube police, they're all over, so they wouldn't allow that. So I'll just have to sing a couple bars. Wind blow. Okay, I'm gonna do that. You guys have been great as always. Don't forget to drop us a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you're playing today. Are you tailing us? Are you fading us? What else you got cooked up? We love to see what you guys are playing. Scott and I will be back with our weekly college football show where we pick our best 3 here in just a minute. That's going to wrap it up for this segment of Today in Sports Betting. Appreciate you watching. Hope every one of those tickets turns into cash money back at the window. And we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.